Why the comfort ceiling that limits financial progress? There is a point in many financial journeys where progress does not stop, but it quietly slows to a level that feels almost invisible, and what makes this stage difficult to recognize is that nothing appears to be wrong on the surface. Income is steady, bills are paid without stress, occasional savings are set aside, and daily decisions no longer feel constrained by immediate financial pressure. From the outside, this looks like stability, and in many ways it is. Yet beneath that stability, there often exists a structural limit that prevents the system from evolving further, and this limit can be described as a comfort ceiling. The comfort ceiling is not defined by a specific number, but by a behavioral threshold where effort begins to decline because the system feels efficient. Early in a financial journey, constraints force attention. Every expense carries weight. Every decision involves trade-offs, and progress depends heavily on intentional action. Over time, as income rises and pressure decreases, those constraints fade, and with them, the urgency that once drove optimization. The system begins to settle into patterns that feel easy to maintain rather than efficient to improve. This transition is subtle because it does not feel like stagnation. The numbers may still move upward, but they do so at a pace that reflects maintenance rather than acceleration. In this state, income and spending often rise together in a loosely synchronized pattern, creating the appearance of growth while preserving the same underlying structure. The gap between what is earned and what is retained stabilizes at a level that feels acceptable. And because nothing feels broken, there is little incentive to examine it more closely. From a mathematical perspective, this plateau has significant implications over time. Wealth accumulation is not driven solely by income, but by the relationship between income, consumption, and the portion that is allowed to compound. When that portion remains relatively constant while income increases, the system scales linearly rather than exponentially. The difference between these two trajectories is not immediately visible, but over extended periods it becomes substantial. This is where the concept of a ceiling becomes useful. A ceiling does not stop movement entirely, but it limits how high the system can go without structural change. In financial terms, the comfort ceiling is reinforced by habits that stabilize spending at higher levels as income increases. Each incremental upgrade in lifestyle resets the baseline, and over time these adjustments form a pattern that keeps the system operating within a fixed range. Behavioral economics provides insight into why this happens. Humans adapt quickly to improvements in their standard of living, a process often referred to as hedonic adaptation. Once a new level of comfort is reached, it becomes a new normal, and anything below it begins to feel like a loss. This creates resistance to reducing expenses, even when doing so would improve long-term outcomes. As a result, the system becomes anchored to its current level of comfort. At the same time, financial progress relies on forces that are not immediately visible. Compounding requires both time and a sufficiently large base, and when the surplus directed toward that base remains modest, the effects of compounding are delayed. This delay can reinforce a perception that the current system is adequate because the alternative path, which involves greater short-term restraint, does not produce immediate visible benefits. Historical patterns show similar dynamics at larger scales. Organizations that reach a stable level of performance often prioritize maintaining that stability over pursuing further optimization. Without external pressure, inefficiencies can persist for long periods because they do not create immediate problems. Over time, however, these inefficiencies limit the system's ability to grow beyond its current range. On an individual level, the same principle applies. The comfort ceiling is maintained not by a single decision, but by a series of small, consistent behaviors that prioritize ease over optimization. Subscriptions that go unnoticed, incremental upgrades that feel justified, and spending habits that align with current income all contribute to maintaining the system within its established range. None of these choices are inherently problematic on their own, but together they define the boundaries of the system. There is also an identity dimension to this threshold. When someone begins to see themselves as financially comfortable, their decisions often shift toward preserving that comfort rather than challenging it. The focus moves from expansion to stability, even if the system has not yet reached a level where stability should be the primary objective. This shift influences how opportunities are evaluated, how risks are perceived, and how resources are allocated. Mathematically, the consequence is that the system continues to function, but its trajectory remains constrained. growth occurs, but it follows a path that is shaped by the existing structure rather than by its full potential. Over time, this results in a widening gap between what the system produces and what it could have produced under different conditions. Understanding the comfort ceiling does not require eliminating comfort, but it does require recognizing that comfort can act as a boundary. The key distinction is between a system that feels sufficient and a system that is designed for long-term expansion. These two states can look similar in the present, but they diverge as time progresses. When viewed in this way, financial progress is not only about increasing income or reducing expenses, but about periodically reassessing the structure of the system itself. Without that reassessment, the system tends to default toward equilibrium, and that equilibrium, while stable, may sit well below its potential. And that is why the comfort ceiling can quietly limit financial progress, not because it stops movement entirely, but because it encourages a form of stability that prevents the system from evolving beyond its current range.